Okay, I have a new theory, and it's that the oil level was actually too high. I'll explain, but I think the oil drain from the turbo was so backed up that it was pushing oil through the seals, and the turbo itself isn't bad. So I went from I thought the engine was bad to I thought the turbo was bad to now possibly maybe it was literally just the oil levels too high. So I'm gonna keep investigating, but that's my new theory. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking off all the intercooler piping. I'm gonna thoroughly clean it out, get all the oil out, because oil was literally pooling inside there. Clean the MAF again, so it's all fresh piping, and then fill up the oil to like a substantially lower level and see what that does, because when I took off where the oil drain line hooks up to the oil pan, where it's supposed to drain into the pan, oil gushed out of there, poured out of there, like I took off the drain plug of the actual oil pan. Like it was gushing out of there for a while, which obviously, if it's doing that, it's probably a little high. Now when the engine's running, of course it is using oil, so the actual active oil level goes down in the pan. But I mean, a lot of oil came out. So that's my new theory. So let's see. First time trying out some fiberglass repair on my bumper, and definitely botched it. Definitely not great. I don't know, I tried to do it the best I did. I did a layer on top of glass and a layer on the bottom, but I think the layer on the bottom is low-key falling down. Yeah, I got no idea what I'm doing. But basically, at mid-pond at the last event, this is a mounting hole where a bolt comes up, and the bolt ripped out through the fiberglass, so I'm repairing that and reinforcing the hole, basically, and then I will just, I'll just have to re-drill it. But yeah, this other side was fine. It didn't rip out. It just ripped out the bolt itself from the fender. But definitely want to figure out how to mount this better, because the only places I had this mounted was those two top bolt holes, and then a zip tie down here and a zip tie down there. So 4 spots, and 2 of those 4 spots are really weak zip ties, cheap Amazon zip ties. So the bumper, that's why the bumper came off like immediately. So I want to try to drill this out, a hole in there, in each taillight, because on the bumper you can see that hole right there. That's a factory mounting location, so I try to utilize that somehow. I don't really know, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to get 2 more mounting points on this thing. Or I might just self-tapper it, I don't know. That seems to be the method to just make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I'm actually moving right now, so I have no idea if I vlogged any of this, but basically with the Z, where it's at right now, I have the July 4th AMP event coming up. And I think in the last video I left off with the compression test results, showing the motor was not blown. But I think I left off that video thinking the turbo was blown. Turns out I think the oil drain from the turbo, the oil return line, is just too low in the pan, / the oil level was too high above it. And that just caused oil to back up in the turbo and blow past the seals into the intercooler piping, coat the uprev MAF I had in there in oil where it failed over time. And I just never really noticed it until the MAF completely failed. I mean, it still didn't completely fail. It was just the readings were so erratic on it. So what I've done in the meantime is I drained some of the oil out, and right now I'm running a lower oil level. Like I'm running it around the L mark on the dipstick. And I know a lot of you might think like that's dangerous and stuff, but this is an extended capacity Z1 baffled oil pan. And so the whole pan is dropped lower, and they give you an oil pickup tube spacer to drop the pickup tube lower to come down with the extended capacity pan. But the dipstick doesn't move any lower, right? So the dipstick measuring is still gonna be like, even though the oil pickup tube went from here to here, the dipstick reading still is gonna read like the oil pickup tube was up here. So basically my theory is I was filling up the oil to the point where it was like close to the high mark on the dipstick because that's what I've always done. But now I think with the oil return where it is from the turbo, that's just too high. And I think I can get away with running it on like the L mark instead of close to the H mark on the dipstick because the oil pickup tube is spaced lower. And it's baffled, the actual pan itself, so like drifting, side to side movement and all that, it shouldn't slosh. So it should be okay to run it at that level. But essentially, I threw my stock MAF back in, retuned it, and it's ripping. The problem is the stock MAF gets maxed out. I'm running 7 pounds of boost in this thing on E85, probably around 350, 380, maybe closer to 400 horsepower, not really sure. And the MAF is so close to like, it maxes out at 5.04 volts. And doing a third gear pull to red line, I see a max of about 5 volts, 4.99 or 5. I think I saw 5 exactly. And that is not enough headroom. If it's a colder day out, that's gonna have a higher reading because it's denser air. Maybe during drift, like high speed corners, third gear, floored, and like just like lugging the car, like it's like it won't be able to get to red line. It's like under a lot of load and strain. The MAF reading might be higher because it's under like more load than you would just see doing a street pull. So I have 2 options. Either get another up rev MAF, throw it in, retune it again, and theoretically I should be fine. Or keep the stock MAF in there and drop to a 5.25 PSI spring instead of like the 7 point something PSI spring that's in there. And I think that 2 PSI difference, 2 PSI and some change would give me enough headroom on the MAF. But I'd rather not do that. The July 4th event at AMP is high speed, third gear, like low-key I think 4th gear some spots. I'd rather not lose 2 PSI / it's probably like 30, 40 horsepower, something like that. So yeah, not really sure what to do, but ripping this thing on the street, it's been great because it hasn't like it's really close to maxing out the MAF, but it's still drivable on the street where I'm able to do pulls and it doesn't break up from the MAF getting completely maxed out. It's like right on the edge. So it's been really fun, and it likes the stock MAF a lot better. I don't have the hot start issue I had with the up rev MAF. It starts up after being heat soaked just fine, whereas before it would die, get super rich and die immediately on a hot start. I'd have to keep giving it gas to keep it alive. It just revs a little happier. It doesn't like rev like it's about like it. Before it just didn't sound happy when I would like free rev it. It just sounded like it was like revving weird and breaking up a little bit. But now it's a lot more rev happy, just free revving it. It just seems happier with this stock MAF, so I'd like to keep it. So I'm at a crossroads. I don't know what to do. I low key, I mean, it's a July 4th event. Like it's gonna be really hot. I might just keep this MAF in there and run 7 PSI and just bring a 5 PSI spring with me to the track in case I run into an issue where it's maxing out the MAF. And then if it is, then I can at the track swap out the 5 PSI spring, and hopefully that wouldn't require any retuning or anything, and it'd be fine. And I'd just be a little underpowered. But still unsure. I'm trying to get that other up rev MAF warrantied. I sent them over the logs and everything, and they're looking at it right now and deciding whether or not they'll give me a refund or an exchange. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And I've got the trailer here because I'm moving finally into a house, so that's exciting. More to come on that. I swear this trailer's cursed, man. It's like the 3rd or 4th flat tire I've had to deal with on this thing. So tossing the spare on there, but I don't know what is wrong with this trailer. There's always an issue. It's weird loading this thing and all my tools. I feel like I'm going to a drift event, but just moving. Unfortunately, no drifting today. Bang, little sneak peek of the new crib. Got the truck and trailer. My mom's here in her car helping me move. It's pouring rain, but the car fits just barely. Finally have my own garage, which is pretty wild to say the least. Doing a little oil change on the truck in preparation for AMP. Got a lot to do on the Z this weekend, but for now, truck is well due for an oil change. So, got to keep your tow rig healthy just as much as the drift car. Let's start prepping. Thing jacked up. All right, got it up in the air for the first time at the new garage. It is absolutely a mess right now because we are still moving in and also getting new toilets. So there's like 4 toilets in the garage, ton of garbage. It's terrible, don't judge, but there's enough space to at least wrench on the car because AMP is next weekend, so I'm out of time. There's no good lighting in here yet, unfortunately, so I'll kind of be working in the dark, but yeah, got a list of stuff to do, to check, to fix. I'm gonna start here in the front end. A few things. Got to mount this catch can securely. Got to figure out this catch can situation if I want to keep the overflow or recirculate it like I had it before. Idler pulley. If you watched the last video, there was a really jank fix I did. That's over there, this one. So it's like a homemade fix. Very jank. So I got a full replacement assembly. So hopefully that will just bolt up and I can throw that in so I don't have to worry about it because it is making kind of a weird sound. It's probably grinding or whatever. Need to do an oil change. I think I figured out the whole oil level debacle thing. So I'm gonna try to replicate the same amount of oil I have in it right now with the oil change because that seems to be working. And if you remember, I'm running the stock MAF right now. It's not maxed out, but it's extremely close, like 0.04 volts away from being maxed out. So on a cooler day, it will max out, or if I overboost. So got a new uprev MAF here after the last one kind of shit itself. Luckily, I reached out to uprev about the situation and they sent me out a new one, which was great from them. Big props to them, standing by their product. That's huge. It saved me $400. So I think another thing I'm going to do in preparation is throw that uprev one in, do a retune on it, and see how it behaves if the car likes it. If the car still likes the stock MAF better, because if you remember, the stock MAF just fixed a lot of other random issues the car was having, like hot start, surging, stuff like that. So if that still presents itself after I retune with the new uprev MAF, I'm just going to keep the stock MAF in there. And I will bring the uprev MAF with me to the track in case I do start maxing out the stock MAF. And yeah, aside from that, the track is very fast. It's Atlanta Motorsports Park, very fast track for 4th gear, a lot of spots. So I'm going to reconnect the rear sway bar so the car's a little easier to drive, a little less side. It's on 265s right now, so I'll air those up probably at the track to like 35, 40, maybe even higher, just to start out with, get a feel for the track. Honestly, I'll probably do like 45 at least. Gonna stiffen up the rear shocks a little because the rear was super gripped up at mid-pond because I softened them a bunch just to experiment. So I'm gonna stiffen those back up a bit. I'm gonna take out some of the tow I put into the car as well for mid-pond. I made a lot of changes before mid-pond to make it super grippy. So I'm gonna kind of undo a lot of those to make it easier to drive for this super fast track that I've never driven before. A few other things on the list. Just did an oil change on the tow rig, so that should be okay. I do need to rotate the tires soon. I don't know if I'll get to that. I'm just gonna start knocking stuff out one by one. So this is the part I was talking about. Basically, it's got like a spacer in it and stuff that I had to jankly remake at the track. So hopefully this fits. That's the part number. I don't think it's Nissan. I think it's aftermarket, but it was pretty cheap. So I'm gonna try it. If not, I'll go back to the homemade solution. Okay, so here's the parts laid out. This was the old setup I had. Everything flew off the car on track, so I I bought this pulley not knowing if it was the right one. Looks like it's different, so it probably wasn't the right one. Found this nut randomly, and then someone had this like spacer thing that I grinded down a shit ton to go on the backside, because normally it has this on the backside. It's like a spacer with the little bucket it sits in, and then the pulley, and then this thing with this behind it. So you can see it's kind of a complex part that all attaches to this shaft. And I just kind of had a nut and a spacer that let it spin without completely frying itself after a lot of trial and error. And it worked to load it on the trailer and drive it around a little bit. Honestly, I even beat on it a good bit with this, how it was testing with the new oil level and everything. I kind of forgot I did this and was just beating on it, and it held up. So that's sick, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace it with this proper, with the proper pieces. All right, I bought the wrong part, but I think it might work. There's a little bit overlap where the belt doesn't quite use the whole pulley on the front side, and then on the back side, the belt is off the pulley a little bit. So it's like kind of the whole pulley is spaced a little too far forward. I bought the AC belt tensioner pulley assembly, not the accessory belt tensioner pulley assembly. So I kind of mix and matched the parts I had with this one, and it was kind of the best I came up with. So I'm gonna start it and see if I hear any grinding, smoking, squeaking, all that. I hope it's good, because the OEM one, like if this doesn't work, I'll just get the OEM one. Z1 sells it, but God, it's like $100-something bucks just for this little pulley thing. There's so many, got a lot of expenses. I don't really want to spend money on that, so praying this works. Can't really tell anything yet, but seems to be okay. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing is installing shifter springs, because I think you can see it in some of my driving videos, but it's really hard for me to click third while in drift, like going from second to third. I just keep, like, in the GoPro footage, it just looks like I'm hunting for the gear, and obviously I fall out of drift while I'm doing that because I'm taking too long. And then I have to reinitiate. It's just not good driving, not good fluidity at all. So I was originally gonna pick up a short shifter and a transmission mount from like Z1. It would have been like $300 total or something like that. But I found that there's actual stiffer shifter springs, which just is what returns the shifter to center. And that can give you a much better shifting feel. And those only cost me like 30 or 40 bucks. So I'm just gonna try that. I'm gonna try it out at amp, see if it's any better. Because I do like the longer throws. These already have kind of a short throw compared to a lot of cars. I don't know, it's just something satisfying about like just the longer throw into third and fourth and all that. Because a short throw shifter just seems like, just like click, click, click. It just seems boring to me, honestly. So anyway, trying to get these springs in. There's a lot of videos online. I got the M-Tech shifter springs of how to install them. And yeah, it's no secret, it's really annoying, especially if you have bigger hands, because it's just really tight space to work in. I already did the passenger side. This is the spring that came out. Yeah, passenger side was easy. There's more space to work with. Driver side's a lot tighter. So I've been struggling with that, but hopefully I can get that in soon and I can move on to the next item to do. Woo! I got it. Holy shit, that was so annoying. This is the driver's side little thing that the spring goes in. You unscrew that little bolt, you put the spring in, you take the old spring out, you put the spring in, and you have to compress the spring while trying to thread that in. And this is where the shifter and trans is at. It's so tight, this wire's in the way. I got it started. All I have to do is tighten it. I'm so happy. Jesus. I got them in. Feels a little stiffer. Not crazy different. Let's see if that'll help my issue. Going from second to third. It's different when you're drifting, you got all the G-forces acting with you, but we'll see. All right, next thing to do, I gotta figure out this catch can situation. See how I can secure this so it's not just flopping around. Okay, so my plan was zip ties because the bracket that used to work for this doesn't work with the intercooler piping. I don't have zip ties big enough to wrap around this thing, so I'm gonna run to Harbor Freight later after the gym. For now, I'm just gonna do an oil change. Trying out, I used to run Castrol Edge 5W40, their Euro blend, with great results. Where is that stuff? Worked really well for me. It's thick for a lot of abuse, but this Valvoline stuff was a lot cheaper, so I'm gonna give this a shot. It's still Euro blend 5W40. Yes, I know it's not a European car. It doesn't really matter. It's just weight I'm really concerned about, and they have good additives for the Euro blend. So yeah, and the oiling dramas continue. There's oil cooled up in the intercooler. Oil pulled up in this intercooler pipe. After doing one test drive and like one pool with, after the oil change, with like about a quart more oil than was in it. I only had 4 quarts in this thing before the oil change. I don't know. Coming up to about halfway on the dipstick right now. It's just the oil return is so low in the pan. Like, look at that. Like there's not much room to actually fill up the oil without it going above the oil return line from the turbo, so I don't know. I might try to lower the level a little bit, but it's just, I don't know if it's like a combination of oil level being too high for the drain and turbo seals are bad, or maybe just the turbo seals are bad, or maybe just the oil level's too high. It's like hard to tell. But now it's too late to try to rebuild the turbo. I mean, I kind of thought the turbo was fine, so I don't know. All right, quick little update. Still trying to figure out the oiling situation. That's no bueno, but I drilled some new holes in the repaired back bumper for mounting, and I'm gonna mount it more secure this time with a lot more mounting points. What else? In the rear, I took out toe, went from 1/4 inch toe in to about an 1/8 inch toe in the rear. So that'll be a little better, easier to drive on this big track. I also connected the rear sway bar and stiffened up the rear shocks. I have BCs in there up to 12 clicks. They were at 5 clicks from soft, so still on the softer side, but stiffer than they were. And yeah, I did do the oil change, cleaned out all the intercooler piping. There's a bunch of oil in there, and yeah, still trying to figure that out. But yeah, it's mostly just mount the bumpers, pray to God the oiling's okay, maybe do some tuning. Yeah, I'll update you guys tomorrow. Bang, bumper back on. Used stronger zip ties, stronger bolts, and like a nut and bolt on each side instead of the factory mounting screws that could be pulled out real easy, and big washers, and also a self tapper on each side. So there's 4 attachment points on each side, plus a zip tie on each side, and a zip tie up by the taillights. So hopefully it doesn't fly off as easily. And about to refuel up with this spare ED5 I got from the last event, and try to double check the tune, make sure it's good enough. Really crunch time here. Don't have as much time as I thought. And I still gotta go to storage, get the tires, get the trailer, load up, and everything. Don't know if I'll have time to tune with the up rev MAF or anything like that, but we'll see. I'm about done touching the Z in this video. The next video will be the actual event. So yeah, I threw in the stock MAF, tuned it, took it out. There was some oil on it. There's still an oiling issue. Either turbo seals are blown or it's getting backed up, pushing past the seals, or a combination of both. Oil levels as low as I'm comfortable with, so I'm just kind of dealing with it. Took out the stock MAF, cleaned it, put the up rev replacement MAF in tuned that good enough. It's very limited time, so the tunes aren't perfect, but should be okay. Then pop that back out, clean the oil off it, put the stock MAF back in. I need to flash the stock MAF tune back on, and I'm gonna run the stock MAF for the event. If it gives me issues, I will have the backup uprev MAF to pop in. I'll bring my laptop so I'll be able to flash on the other tune if I do that. But praying it's just gonna work. So we'll see. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the actual driving. That'll be tomorrow, but not sure when the video will come out. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.